So how's it going, my little pheasant pluckers? Hope you're doing alright. Well, I've been doing stuff off camera and that sort of thing, and one of the things I've been doing is this this board here. Yeah, this is to go into one of those Marshall Origin amps. Comes from Headfirst and a company called Evolve DIY. The information will be down in the video of when I've made this one. It's nearly ready, as you can see. But enough of that for now, because this video is not about that. Although it does look pretty cool, doesn't it? Let's hope it doesn't go bang. Anyway, enough of this. Let's get the thing today underway. Boom! Well, I had this one sitting around for some time. It's Auntie. Or is it Auntie? It's something like that, but it's from UAFX. You know what it is, it's a pedal. But these guys make pretty good pedals in my view. So, yeah, what we're going to do is get this out and have a quick close look at it. I'm going to rip the parts out. Well, not out, but we're going to have a look inside. And then, yeah, we'll plug her in and see what it sounds like. It looks a very good pedal, and it's supposed to be a rock metal type of thing. It's supposed to be. Well, we'll find out, won't we? Does it really cut the mustard? Or is it one of them pedals of the tens of thousands of the others that all claim to and don't actually do anything? Well, here we are. Down where it matters. I've never actually had this one really out the box and done anything with it. I've been doing all that other stuff. Some of the stuff you haven't seen, but don't worry about that. Yeah, so what's in the darn thing? Yeah, it's a nice looking pedal, even in its wrapper. Let's pull that out. So what have we got? Oh yeah, well, you can't say it's not a nice looking pedal, can you? I mean, it does look a nice looking pedal. I'll come back to that in a second. What else we got in the box? Oh, maybe very little. Got one of these. You know what them are. Throw it back. We've got some pretty useless instructions. And we've got get more tones, it says here. Let's have a look at that. Oh yeah, you get a one sheet piece of paper that supposedly is going to tell you everything about it. Well, it might or it might not. We'll come back to that later too. Let's get on, have a look at that pedal. Oh, it's a nice enough looking pedal, isn't it? I mean, look at this. Beautiful red. I just wonder whether it's Auntie or Auntie. Yeah, well, go figure on that. Yeah, what can I say? It's very well built. That's the first thing about it. So what I want to do is to just, let's take a quick look inside. They can be a bit awkward to get at, these can, but let's see where I get. I think it's important we know the quality and what's going on inside the darn thing. Because nobody really tells you much or any of that, do they? Well, they wouldn't, would they? Well, isn't that nice and easy? It was just 4 screws and the thing comes apart like that. Now, isn't that nice? Isn't that, well, different rather than messing around and some really not so good designs and that sort of stuff. You've got to try and get the bits apart and all that stuff. This is so easy in comparison. Oh, I hope you like the new pointer, by the way, so you can see it better. Yeah. Well, what have we got? Well, you can see overall that the thing has been made on a machine. Yeah. They like that, this company. They make nearly all of them on machines as far as I know. Yeah. What can I say? Well, what I can say is that, well, look at the quality. It's pretty much awesome. Well, it is until you have to repair it. If you ever have to repair it, you may not. It's got a few things going on here, haven't we? We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chips. And on the other part, which is just over there, you might be able to see it. There's a chip there too. I'm not sure what that's for or any of them yet. No, there's another couple up there. I'll be looking at the chips a bit later on, but I won't be going into the ultimate greatest depth on them. I might find the price of a few of them and things like that and tell you what the basic specs are. But that's all you'll need to know. You can see that UA have made a very, very good job of this particular pedal, whether it's Auntie or Auntie. Auntie. Oh my God, I'm getting worse. Yeah. let's go a bit closer and see what they've actually got in there. Okay, so I've zoomed in a little bit closer, and we'll have a look at a few chips. So I'm not going to talk about them particularly here. This is, I reckon this is a memory chip. And the next one along, this is a, oh yeah, very common thing. Processor, MIM X8, looks like W50VT-LZAA. Anyway, I'll come back to that one a bit later, as I will most of the bigger chips, because I think they need to. And the one after that is, funny enough, a SanDisk chip. This one here. Yeah, it's a SanDisk SD INB, looks like a B or an 8. No, it's a BDG 4-16G. Maybe something to do with like a memory type of thing. Or not, we'll find out later. Next one along, I say along, is that one there. You can see it. That's a PCA 9450AA. As I say, we'll be visiting these later. There are a few other chips floating around on this board. In particular up here, you can see these two here. I can't easily read them out right now, but I'll try and talk about them later. And then we've got another chip. Where am I going now? I think it's this one down at the bottom out of the way. See it down there. It's a PCA 9450AA, just in case anybody wants to know right now. And then we got some 74 LVO8As and stuff like that. What I like to see though, other than just the chips, and other than the build quality, because you can see that quality's pretty much spot on. Trust me, it is. It's as good as anything you're going to be able to buy. I like to see this here. Can you see that? And that's showing you that it's been checked off on every stage of the build. That's got to be pretty awesome, that has. Now I have moved across just a little bit, just to show you that chip that's just at the end of my pointer. You can probably just see it. Now scarily, that one's had everything rubbed off it. And I always think that's a bit of a teller, is that? Oh, what you can do if you need mend it? Well, you either have to buy a board from them, which you probably can't. Maybe you can, probably can't. Or you can throw it in the bin, aren't you? Yeah, that's not so good. I've seen it a lot of times where people try and hide this and hide that, and you know how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to bolt this one back together, and let's look at the pedal further. Now then, I'm not going to spend all day right now, because we're going to look at the thing a bit further later on. Well, what have we got? Doesn't it look great? I mean, colour's great, the build's great. It's got lots of switches for you to mess around with, as people like to, or not. There's this Anti 1992 high gain amp in this fabulous red. Yeah, looks awesome, really. Lots of controls to mess around with, and let's see what they do. So I'm just going to run you past the controls. Okay, let's go from here. It says here, Reso and pre-gain. Well, the pre-gain adjusts the gain to the preamp circuit, well, you might well know that. And the Reso, they call it that, adjusts the low frequency response. And thump, yeah, well, it would do. The gate, it's got a gate and a presence on the same thing there. The presence, you know what that does, adjusts the sparkle. The gate adjusts the gate threshold bypassing at a minimum. When you turn it right back, it's at a minimum and it will be bypassed. Simple. Output, there's the output control and its volume. We've got a section for cabs. So it's got cabs in it, just in case you didn't know. It'll cycle through the available speakers when the lead's off. The amp remains active, but the cab and the room are disabled. Moving along to this alternate switch here, the second one. Yeah, why not? That activates the reso, the gate, the overdrive, the OD tone, and the OD level controls. You can see it there. Yeah, you've got amp in the middle. Yeah, amp. Standard knob controls. Well, store, hold down to save your preset. You can see all that. Next up is this channel here, this channel switch. We'll call it a channel and we'll call it a switch, because that's what they do. So we've got a rhythm, a crunch and a lead. Well, just be pretty obvious what them are. And then we've got Yeah, a low, a mid and a high. You knew they were coming, didn't you? But as well as being low, it can be overdrive. As well as being mid, it can do an OD tone. And as well as being high, it can be an overdrive level. So it's a bit like, well, it's a booster. We can't get away from it, can we? I hate to say this, but when you press that, it's on. And when you press this one, the preset's there, isn't it? It toggles between on and off, if you want the truth. If the LED's lit, when its stored settings are active, and on this one, when the light's on, it's on. How simple does that have to be? Well, this is a bit boring too, if you want the truth. But you've got to have a look at it if you're considering the pedal, right? Come on, let's be reasonable. It's got a mono in, you can see it there, or it can be stereo in if you connect it to both of them. Yeah, you can see that. Pretty obvious. There's a mono out, yeah, or there's a stereo out. That's got rid of them too, hasn't it? We've got a power in connection, and by the way, there's no batteries in this thing. It's power or nothing. Connect 400 milliamp isolated power supply. And it says sold separately. How miserable is that for the price of this darn unit? Well, we'll talk about that later. We can pair this to Bluetooth, which I'm going to be doing. It activates the Bluetooth discovery for UAFX control mobile app. So there's a mobile app, which I'll show on my Apple, I'll call it that, as opposed to Apple, which belonged to the Beatles, I guess. Yeah, and yeah, we'll go from there with that. And this power supply you need for this thing here, it's a 9 volt DC isolated centre negative, as I've said, 400 milliamps minimum, and it's a 2.1 by 5.5 mil barrel connector. If you want to go and find your own, because I could have hazard a guess that the price of the one for this is money. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, there's full documentation, by the way, available for download. They've moved into download mode like everybody else. uaudio.com, not UA Audio, uaudio.com/UAFX/start, and there'll be a link to that down in the text. Now always remember, when I'm showing you this darn thing, or anything else for that matter, always look in the text, because there is added information that I don't always talk about. Hope you get that. And there is, by the way, on that little sheet of paper, remember that. Yeah, right there it is. Scan here, or go to uaudio.com, just like I said, and you can use the little thing there on your phone if you really want to. Well, it all looks quite nice, doesn't it? Well, it ought to look quite nice for what it is, for the price you pay. You know, it's got a premium cost, we'll call it that, for something that's made pretty well and pretty robust by the look of it, although it's got plastic connectors on the back. Yeah, something you don't, well, you do see, but you don't always see. Sometimes they're metal, as on some of the Roland stuff. On this one, they've opted for the cheap option of plastic. Yeah, let's talk a few moments about the price. Because these darn things, they can be money. Let's not kid ourselves. When all said and done, hey, listen, what is it? Well, it's a sort of simulated sort of pedal, isn't it? But I'm looking on here. Universal Audio, UAFX, anti-1992, or auntie-1992, I call it. You knew me, auntie? No. Well, they go on here. Believe it or not, they go as high as £444.65, all the way down to £280.35. Anyway, there they are. There's lots of them, and the cheapest one I can see on there is £281.37. People like Scan, you've heard of Scan Computers, maybe, or Thomann. Thomann's on there at £405.42. It better be good. Well, choose a window. Yeah? And by the way, this isn't a sponsored review. Absolutely not. There's my invoice from the dreaded Andertons, which charge more than most people, or many people. Let me rephrase it like that. I'm just looking on my Anderton's account here, and I've had this, believe it or not, since the 24th of August last year. Yeah, that's how long I've had it. And I paid, importantly, £374.87. What more can I say? Let me log out the bloody thing. That's what I can say. So, Anderton's did not pass the cheapest test. Yeah. And certainly Thomann was on another planet. Now, when I look at these sort of devices, I'm always looking at what goes on after you've bought it. Because this is what matters, isn't it? This is one of the reasons I always take a look inside almost every device that I ever review. And I think it matters, don't you? I think it should matter. Come on, you don't want it failing at 13 months and, oh my God, throw it in the bin. No, you don't want that. Well, even if it does fail at 13 months on the 1992 Auntie, I think that's its real name. Auntie's gone away. It's got 3 years warranty. And I think, once again, very important, very critical, especially at the sort of price that it is. It's a simulator when all's said and done, and who knows what can happen. The chips in there and, you can end up with trouble, can't you? And for 350 quid plus, you don't want to be ending up in trouble. So what I'm going to do is just for a few seconds talk about the main features. It's got features, of course it has. So let's just mention a few while we're here, just in passing. Okay, well, so what are the key features of this darn pedal? Well, we know it's a simulator of sorts. You just know it is. It's never going to get any of them tones out of tubes in something as small as that. Unless you're somebody like, Thomas Blug, which is a different story altogether. On this one, in any way, you can plug into the early 90s 120 watt tone monster, they say, that defined the new genres of modern metal. Really. Powerful UAFX dual engine delivers the most authentic emulation of the amp ever placed in a stomp box. Well, it says ever placed in a stomp box, but it doesn't talk about the other units that are out there, like Fractal Audio, for example, like, the Fender Tone Monster, I'll call it that, or even the little GX10 from Roland Boss. I mean, stomp box is a funny word, isn't it? I always think of one of these as a stomp box, and I don't think of anything else as being quite a stomp box. Anyway, you get complete album-ready sounds, it says here, with built-in noise gate, the Tube Screamer style overdrive, and preamp boost. Well, I knew the Tube Screamer had to be there somewhere. I mean, it's an industry world standard, isn't it? Experience groundbreaking dynamic room modelling derived from UA's award-winning Aux amp top box. So it's stolen things from the Aux and put them in this little pedal. Well, why not? That's what I say. You can explore 6 classic mic and speaker pairings used on decades of iconic metal and hard rock records. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'll put it straight to the desk and then we'll see how good it is, won't we? And you can play presets designed by pro guitarists, whoever they might be, or customise and save your own tones in the UAFX mobile app, which we're going to have a look at in a moment. It's got some specifications tagged along with it, which I might as well cover now, well, while I'm here. I've talked about the 9-volt DC power supply. I've talked about the 2/4 inch TS right input for stereo connections and 4 cable mode. Blah, blah, blah. One thing I didn't cover, by the way, is it has got a USB Type-C for updating the pedal. That's all you do with that, for updating the pedal via computer. It's 2.56 inches or 6.5 centimetres high. Its width is 3.6. It's got a depth of 5.5 inches and it weighs 1.24 pounds. Yeah, what more can I say about it? Well, not a lot really. UK V30, 4x12 Marshall cab with V30s. California V30, 4x12 oversized cab with V30s. White 75, 4x12 Marshall cab with Celestion 75s, and 3 bonus cabs, the 2x12 D65, 4x12 Celestion 80, 4x12 Brown it says here, available with UAFX mobile app. Those are the specifications. That's what you get. And yeah, let's hope it sounds good. Okay, well, I don't know how well this is going to go. I've got my phone here and I've registered the pedal to my freshly made account. And there it is, and it's telling you a couple of things here. We've added new cabinet to your, well, added new cabinets to your pedal. Select the new cabinets, push the effect type switch until its LEDs turn green. D65 is selected when the top LED is green, Super 80 when the middle LED is green, and brown JB is selected when the bottom LED is green. So there. So you've seen it yourself on screen. Let's see what we get. Adding UA preset. Well, actually, while it is doing that, I'll talk about the pairing and stuff like that. And yeah, you download the app. There's an app for both types of platforms, really. One for Apple and one for the other one. And yeah, you download it accordingly. And then you've got the pairing to do when you run the app and all that sort of stuff. And I did have a bit of a problem. It did throw up this thing you can see on the screen right now as an error. And then I had to switch off the anti-1992. Yeah. Switch it all back on again and then reconnect it. And then it seemed to work the second time. But do be aware that if I'm having trouble, you might have trouble. I'm no different than you, and when they can't pair and they're next to each other like this, well, it says a lot really, doesn't it? And the great way of looking at a pedal like this is that literally I'm doing what you would do. Literally, I'm no different than you. I bought the thing. Either works or it doesn't. Oh, UA preset added. 28 USA factory and artist presets are now stored on my pedal. Oh, sounds like a plan, doesn't it? Let's have a go. Firmware. Update available. I'm now going through the firmware. I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm just going to go and do it. I'll be back in a moment. Sadly, I think the firmware has to be done from a PC to USB. I think. I can't really see anything else in here that's sort of helping me. I looked at settings where I would have thought it would have been. I've moved on from where we were. I could have been there all day. And we're looking at these factory presets here, what you've got. I'm not going to go through them all. You'll probably hear just a few when I do the demo a bit later. But you can see them there. Yeah? They're all there. Modern Death. That sounds bad, doesn't it? Smooth Willie, I don't know. I'm not even going there. Then we've got artists. Have a look if there's any. Oh, there is. Dime, heavy rhythm. Good to have him on there. Yeah. Hope they've got his lead on as well. I doubt. But I never know. Yeah, well, there they are. There's only them. Or those are the only ones I can see at the moment. Got Jeff Loomis on there. Ryan Knight. All the stuff. Yeah. Well, there's not much more you can say about it. They're the settings. Won't be any favourites set out. Save your favourites. Yeah, my saved preset. Well, I haven't got any yet. I've got another section in here for edit. Oh. Tube screener. Blah, blah, blah. Bright switch on. These are the settings for that, I think. Well, there they are. I'm not going to run through them all. I'm not going to sit doing it with you. I just want to show you what's in the app, which a lot of guys never do bother to show you, do they? Okay, you've got a good idea of the overview of it, and we'll look at edit. There it is. Is this the right one? Does it even tell me? Doesn't tell me. Anyway, there it is. That's enough. That's all you're going to get on the demo of the software, because to be honest, I couldn't be bothered. It can't be that complex, can it? Well, I think it's all so good so far. I haven't spent oodles of time messing around with the application on there, to be honest. I don't know if you can see that. But it doesn't look that difficult. You just got to mess around with it a bit. But I'm more interested in how it actually comes, rather than changing things and then showing you, oh, Tony's tone. Because Tony's tone might be or might not be your tone. That's actually very true. when you watch a lot of reviews, guys will, oh yeah, we'll have this or have that or have the other. And some people also say, oh yeah, but the tones in it, they're just any old thing, them are. And I don't think they are any old thing. You have a company like UAFX dump any old rubbish into something that's probably cost millions, could be millions of pounds in development, or hundreds of thousands at the very least, or dollars should I say. Well, they aren't going to load it up with rubbish, are they? It doesn't stand to business reason, and never has, no matter what anybody says. And as for those reviewers that twiddle it up and do their own thing, well, they're not really showing you what you get. They're showing you their sounds, and their sounds may or may not be your sounds. It's so important to understand that. But a lot of people don't want to understand it, and I think that's the nux of it. They don't want to understand it. They don't want to be able to say that, oh, UAFX load up great tones as standard. But UAFX themselves say they do load up great tones. So who do I believe? Some numpty over there, whoever or wherever he might be, telling you that his sounds are better than the manufacturer's. It's all relative, isn't it? Because it's so subjective. Anyway, there you go. I think what we're going to do now is we're going to talk a little bit about the chips, and not for long, but we will talk about them. And I'll give you some idea of what these chips are or what they aren't. Yeah, well, let's go from there, and then I'll be back with the summing up and the rest. And the playing, of course. Oh, and while you're there, don't forget to subscribe, do that thumbs up thing, and ring that bell, yeah. Because if you don't, well, it doesn't help me, and then you won't see any more to watch, will you? Well, at least not like this review you won't. You never see them from them other guys. All you'll see from them is what some other person wants them to say often. Yes, this the chip that you see on the screen now, it's a what is it? It's Micron technology. It's an IVB77 D9 WRB, and basically what it is SD-RAM, which is the sort of thing I was talking about. It says here LPDDR4, DDR4A. Well, that's not too bad, but the chip I'm looking at may or may not be the exact one, but this one I'm looking at is scheduled for end of life, but that's another story. Okay, the next one, this MIM X8MM5DV TLZAA. That's a bit of a word, isn't it? But it says here the i.MX8M Mini is NXP's first embedded multi-core applications processor built using advanced 14 LPC FinFET process technology, providing more speed and improved power efficiency, commercial industrial level qualification, and backed by NXP's product 11. It's 4 times Cortex A53 core platform, up to 1.8 gig per core, 32 kilobit L1 cache, 32 kilobit L1-D cache, 512 kilobit L2 cache, 1 Cortex M4 core up to 400 meg, I might add, 16 kilobytes or bits L1 cache and 16 KB L2D cache. Audio, it says here, is 5 times SAI, which is 12 TX plus 16 RX external I2S lanes, 8 channel PDM input. There's a lot of stuff, right? There's a lot of stuff in that chip. I'm going to leave it at that, but it's basically ARM Cortex A53, Cortex M7, it says there. I can't go on anymore with that. I'll carry on forever. This next one's quite interesting in its own way. It's a SanDisk, and it's an SD. Whoops. It's an SD INB DG4-16G, made in China. But don't hold that against it. And the thing about it is, it says it's SanDisk iNAND 7250 industrial embedded flash drive, which is interesting. Yeah. I haven't seen one of them in one of these types of devices before. Very interesting. There's also in there a PCA 9450 AA chip. Oh, what's that all about? Well, a PCA 9450 is a single chip power management IC specifically designed to support IMX8 meg family of processors in both one-cell lithium ion and lithium polymer battery portable application, blah blah blah. Okay, well the next one, interestingly enough, is an NRF 52810, and that's basically a high performance entry level Bluetooth 5 ANT 2.4 gig system on a chip. It's got loads of features with it. I won't bore you with them, but it's interesting. Bluetooth 5 ready multi-protocol radio, Bluetooth 5 data rate support 2 megabits, 1 megabit. Supports Bluetooth 5 advertising extensions, ARM Cortex M4 at 64 megahertz, 192 kilobit flash, 24 kilobit RAM. Software stacks available. Programmable output power, on-air compatible with NRF 5.2, NRF 5.1, NRF 24 SoCs, supply voltage, and on it goes. The thing is about it, you can use it for network connectivity, you can use smart RF, PC peripherals, medical sensors, fitness sensors, toys, you name it. It's an all-round chip. Now, other than that, there are one or two ancillary chips kicking around in there. I'm not really worried about them, and neither should you be. But the one that's on the screen right now, where it's been filed away so you don't know what the chip is, well, that's not very good, is it? I can understand protection, but there is a limit, you know. Let's do a bit of summing up, shall we? Yeah, I think we've covered everything else. You've got the little application and all the stuff that goes with it. But I do want to talk about the manual first. Yeah, the manual. What manual? Oh, you mean this one over here? Is that the manual you mean? No, that's not the one you mean. Well, yeah, I've got a page of... let me show you. Yeah, I've got a page of basic bits and pieces, if you want to call it a manual. It's more like an introduction to me. Pretty basic. So I thought to myself, oh, I'll just whip on the internet so I can just download the manual, you know. No. This company has decided that it's now a browser. Yeah, it's browser accessible. Great, isn't it? What if you forget your phone or you can't get at the manual and you want to learn something specific and you're on site, you're at a gig, you could be anywhere, you could be doing anything, you might even be a presentation or something, I don't know. All I can tell you is if you can't get online, you ain't reading that manual. It isn't there to download. From what I can see, nobody talks about it, but you do need a manual to understand what you're doing, especially on a brand new pedal where you've got no experience with it. And I think that's it's a big shortcoming. It's not a cheap pedal. It's 374 quid last time I bought one or so, and I expect to see a manual. I mean, what's up with these people? So what else? Well, the firmware thing was fair enough, but you had to have a PC. You couldn't do it from this, or you couldn't do it over the Bluetooth, or you couldn't this, or you couldn't that. So as long as you've got a PC to sort of do it with, I think. I could be wrong in that, but that's what I found. And what did it do? Well, it helps it a little bit with the sort of lag that you can get, you know, from this type of device. Yeah, that's what it sorts out or helps you with, the latency. I noticed on the software here that I had to log in every time, or I had to definitely go to them, put the details in, log in, then connect to this, then that. Then. It's all well and good if you like that sort of thing, but you know, on a little pedal like this, it's not like having one of these big, you know, like a Fender or a GX10 or a SY, any of them. This is a little pedal. It should be simpler, really. It isn't simpler. It's more messing around. That's great if that's what you like. The build quality is absolutely excellent. Excellent build quality. You can't really fault it. It's got decent gear inside it. Really well made. Honestly. You're not going to have, I doubt, any problems with that. And do remember, it's got that 3-year warranty. Everything about it says this is great. Well, the tones, well, you make your own mind up. I'm not going to make your mind up for you. I'm going to say, as far as I'm concerned, the tones are fine. Treat it on its own merit rather than saying, oh, it's one of them. Because when you say, well, it's one of them, usually that doesn't quite do the thing. Yeah, one way or another. So would I say, is it worth the money? That's a thought, isn't it? I would say actually it probably is worth the money. Bear in mind that in the UK we have to pay 20% tax, which I've already mentioned earlier. So it probably is worth the money. It's probably had a lot of work put into it, but it's so similar to many of the other UAFX pedals that you could say, well, half the work's already been done on previous models. You decide yourself whether that's right or not, but it's still 374 quid, and it's a lot of money. You might find them second hand or something. You might, or you might not. So, yeah, I love the warranty. I love the build. I love the most of everything. I hate there's no proper manual to download. That's a shortcoming, and to me, it's like shortchanging you a little bit. Now, come on, Tony. What about the score? What you can give it as a score? I've got to give it a 9. It would have been a 10. It's just the one thing that stopped me. So it's a 9 out of 10 for this one. It's a nice looking pedal. I like the red. I don't like Auntie. Auntie 1992 is probably a better name. Oh my God, I'm getting worse. So don't forget, do the subscribe and all the rest of it, because it is actually appreciated. Yeah. And it won't be long now, by the way, before I do that Marshall. Remember that. Yeah, it's coming up. And I'm waiting for one component. And then it's fitted in into the Origin amp. And we'll see if it blows up. Look forward to it soon. That should be a killer. Anyway, that's it for now. Now, get out of here.